Alessandro Gaudenzi, Industry Manager for the Retail Group of Google Italy. His speech topic is Be First of the Future.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me? Yeah. Hi, guys. Thank you for coming, first of all. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the future. So how the technology is changing the world. The technology is changing, and the technology is changing people. So we're going to see how the future could be in 5 or 10 years. Let's see. Let's start. Okay. As you can see, advances in technology escapes virtually nobody, not even kids. In UK, the 28% of kids between 3 and 4 years are able to use a tablet. It's strange because they are kids, they are not even able to read or write, but they're able to use a tablet. So the embraces of technology engage all of us, from the kids that like to play with devices to adults that use the devices in their everyday life. So it's really surprising to see how quite literally we have come so far with technology advancement in a relatively short space of times. But what is really surprising is the fact that this technology advancement and the fact that everybody is embracing the technology never ceases to surprise us. It's very strange. And I think that we are still very surprised about that for the speed of these changes. Because we are making very huge leaps that are exponential, no more like small steps or incremental steps. All the steps that have been done in the last periods are exponential change. And so it's really surprising to see how quickly this new technology is integrating in our daily life. Rezi Kurval explained that it's really tough for us to understand these exponential changes because actually we are hardwired to think linearly. So if we do 30 steps, we get to 30. It's really hard for us to understand that if we do 30 steps, we get 1 billion or even more. Maybe perhaps this could be traced back to our survival instinct because at the beginning, at the beginning of our history, if there was like a lion at 50 steps, while a tree at 15 steps, it was happy days. While if the lion was at 15 steps and the tree at 50 steps, not that good. So for us, it's really tough to think about exponential changes. But what we can see that is really self-explanatory is the fact that technology every year doubles its power. And so all these changes are really tough to predict. But what we are going to do today and to see together is try to figure out how the world, how technology, and how people are going to change in the next 5 or 10 years. Let's start big with the world. At the moment, the world has 7.2 billion inhabitants, and the entire population is 7.2 billion, and the connected population is 2.8 billion. It seems to be a lot, because actually 2.8 billion is the population of the world of 100 years ago. But actually, it's just the 39% of the population. And in 2020, the population will hit 8 billion. Our president, the president of Google, Eric Schmidt, have predicted that in 2020, the connected population will be 8 billion. I know, it seems impossible because, we have to get other 5 billion people online. But we can see that there are a lot of stuff that are going on that could make it possible. Let's see how. The accessibility of devices will be a huge factor in getting the next 5 billion people online. Let's see how. First of all, the smartphone. The smartphones are becoming more and more affordable. Now in UK, there are smartphones that cost just £30. For example, Samsung Y. But it's not just about smartphone. It's also about tablet. It started Tesco to build the first tablet that costed £80. But then DataWind created Akash. Akash is a tablet that costs just 30 euros. So you have a smartphone at 30 pounds, a 30 euros tablet, and all the devices are becoming really more accessible. And then there are also some other kind of devices that maybe you're not that familiar to. Raspberry Pi. Do you know Raspberry Pi? Actually, Raspberry Pi is a credit card-sized computer that can... Exactly, that you can connect to any screen to create a really basic personal computer. Okay, the computational power is just that of the first Xbox, so it's not that much. You can't see a video on that, but you can check your mail, you can see basic web pages. So the evolution of this kind of devices can create other devices and can allow many other people to enter and to connect to the internet, even because Raspberry Pi costs less than 30 euros. So it's really cheap. But it's not only about devices. It's only about creating the infrastructure to connect the people. And there are some interesting projects about that. First of all is the Project Loon. Project Loon is a project in partnership with Google that consists in a network of balloons that has put on the edge of the space just to bring the internet in some rural and remote area where otherwise wouldn't be possible to connect people. But apart from the connection, usually the internet connection costs money. So to bring other people or to bring poor countries connected to internet, it takes also to cut the price of internet. And there is this other extraordinary project that is called internet.org that is also in collaboration with Google with the aim to cut the cost of internet to 1% of the actual price. Let's think. Here in Italy, to have a broadband for 1 month costs 20 euros, 25 euros. In 5 or 10 years, it could cost 25 cents, 30 cents. And it's a really affordable price for everybody. So, seeing all these kind of changes, it doesn't seem so impossible to get the next 5 billion online. Even because the technology is changing, and it's changing really quickly. Let's see how. Now we are entering a new world, a completely new world, a 6-screen new world. Can you name the name of all the 6 screens? Because it seems a lot, 6 screens, but actually it's quite easy to figure out the 6 screens. First of all, desktop. You can see really well there. But desktop is changing, and it is changing a lot. And the most important changes about desktop are coming in the interfaces field. In fact, there are like company like Leapmotion or Flutter that are interfaces that support the gesture recognition and the use of computer without the mouse and without hand contacts. So maybe in the future we are going to use desktop in a completely different ways, maybe more similar to science fiction movies than the actual ways we use technology. Then we have a smartphone. And there is this project that is called Project ARA that has been developed by Motorola. And this is the equivalent of Android for software. In fact, Motorola is creating this open free hardware platform that allows the customer to customize his own device to his own needs. As now you can just download your app just to do the things you need. In the future, you can buy different part of hardware to customize your own smartphone and let them use in the best way. Then we have tablet. There is a very interesting technology called haptic technology for the tablet that has been developed by Senseg. It is a company that is trying to build a touch screen that can help you to really feel the screen. For example, if you have to buy a jacket, you can really feel the texture. So something like this will really break the barrier between online and offline, bring some online in the offline. Then we have TV, but we are not talking about the TV that we know. This is a different kind of TV. There are some devices like Chromecast. Do you know Chromecast? And the Chromecast is a device that helps people to enjoy online videos or movies or music directly on their TV, simply by plugging the device on their HD TV. And just to give you an idea on how popular are becoming these devices, in the day of the launch, Chromecast sold 1 million units. Just to give you an idea, when iPad was launched, the first iPad, it took 28 days to get the first million units sold. And for the first iPhone, it took 74 days. So when we were talking about exponential change, you can really see it like in the sellout of this kind of devices. Then, another kind of devices that you know for sure that are wearable. The market is already full of wearable. The Samsung Gear, or the Motorola 360, or other devices that will be launched in the future, like Google Glass. But the very important thing is that in the 2012, they were 8.3 million, and now they are growing and growing, and it is expected to have 64 million units in 2017. And what they are changing is a lot of different activities. Try to think about fitness. The wearable is really used at fitness. You have like a fit bracelet, or you have like the GPS for some watches like Motorola 360 that you can use just to track your workout. And last but not least, car. Some exciting changes are happening in the automotive industry with the heads-up display. Heads-up display are displays that can show to driver a lot of different information. For example, in the normal glass, they can see the tachymeter, the temperature, or they can see the road that they have to do. Or even if they want, they can pinch and zoom some places on the screen. So the glass of the car will become another screen with whom we can work. But the most important thing is that people is already using all of 6 screens, and this is changing people. Even if we can say that people are not really changing, because their core motivation still stays the same. But it's really different the way they meet with their core motivation. For example, to take an example, in 2010, the Google searches made through mobile was just 10%. 3 years later, in 2013, it was the 30%, and it is still growing double digit. So we can expect that maybe next year will be 40, 50%, and then it will still grow, and the landscape will completely change. But it is also changing the way we entertain ourselves. In 2010, in the UK, people used to watch 6 billion videos online. That seems to be a lot, but 3 years later, it was 12 billion, and it is still growing. But the number that to me is the most surprising is the fact that in 2005, only 11% of consumers trusted online store, and just 8 years later, not only 75% of shoppers trusted online store, but they weren't satisfied about the impersonal experience. They want a really customized experience because the customers are becoming more and more demanding. And at the same time, the customer is always still right. And is always finding new way to get customized his own experience and new ways to complain. This is a funny example. This user was completely dissatisfied with the experience with the British Airways, and so he did a tweet about this dissatisfaction. But you have to notice that this is not a normal tweet. This is a promoted tweet. He really felt the need to pay to get visibility to the fact that customer service was terrible. So in this moment, you can't play games with the customer because they are really demanding. So the world is changing, the technology is changing, and the people are changing. So what does that mean for business? What they have to do just to be successful in this era? Essentially, they have to do one thing. They have to go at a pace that exceeds the pace of changing. Even because if the world, technology, and people changing faster than them, they will be left behind. But how can they do practically? First of all, they have to innovate and grow because they cannot stay still. Second thing, they have to make better decisions through the deep dive and to use of the data at their disposal. And third things, they have to win momentum matters. Let's deep dive every single point. First, innovate and grow. To innovate and grow, the companies that are successful can't just follow the trend. They have to lead the trends. Because if they are even succeeding at follow a trend, it's already too late. And then they will be left behind. So they have to lead the change. And to do that, what they have to do? They have to make beautiful mistakes, so they have to learn from their mistakes. And second thing, they have to adapt fast. Let's see two examples about this. First of all, Mind Candy. Mind Candy is a company that produces games. From 2004 to 2007, they were completely focused on Perplexity. Perplexity was a collectible game card, like Magic, like other card games. But they were so focused on that that they do a lot of mistakes. And in 2007, they were forced to close operation with 5.8 million of debt. But they were able to learn from their mistakes. In the same year, in 2007, they launched Moshi Monster. Moshi Monster learned from the mistake that were made to Perplexity. Perplexity has essentially three mistakes. The first of all was that depends on only one source of revenue. It was the collectible card that were even really tough to find. Second things, they weren't able to leverage the brand extension. So they produced just card, no merchandise for the more engaged customer. And as you know, if you sell merchandise to engaged customer, you have free visibility from them because they are ambassador, your ambassador. And third thing, they missed out the social gaming experience. While with the Moshi Monster, that was social gaming for kids, they were able to get 80 million users in 150 customers, in 150 countries. And they did completely different from what they did with the Perplexity. They produced a lot of merchandising, like books, music, even a movie. And then they were able to really leverage the phenomenon of social gaming. But success is not a one-time win, because even with the Moshi Monster, at the beginning they did a mistake. At the beginning, they created a flash-based game that was possible to play only on desktop and not on mobile. But when they get aware of the fact that the most part of their users were using the Moshi Monster on mobile, they quickly changed to a mobile platform. And so the growth was even more huge. So what the CEO of Mind Candy say, Michael Acton Smith, it's not important to focus on a wrong track, but it's really important to release early and often in order to make beautiful mistakes to learn from. In the field of adapt fast, we're going to consider two well-known companies, Tesco and Nike. Tesco, the grocer, and Nike, the sport apparel company. It's no more like this, because Tesco has been able to move from a simple grocery company to a company that sells tablet and online digital content. And it's really interesting to see that not only they are starting to sell digital contents, but they have stopped to sell television in their store. So there has been a completely switch in their way of thinking. And the same thing is for Nike. At the beginning, even if they were very famous, even in the 80s, they have just changed just to meet the customer needs. In fact, now, Nike is not only a sport apparel company, but it's also a fitness app, wearable company, and is a point of reference for all the sporty people. In fact, now you have a community, like for Nike, for example, Nike Plus. Lots of people use Nike Plus to track their workout. And so this is a really beautiful change by this company. The second point, make a better decision. To make a better decision, you have to follow two rules. First of all, embrace new behaviors. If you see that the customers are changing, you have to change the same. Second thing, you have to deep dive into data. So you have to understand the data at your disposal in order to understand your customer and to change your business. Even here. This is an interesting case. According to a report of OC&C Strategy Consulting, between 2010 and 2012, the Google searches for the top 50 university grew only by 1% in UK, while abroad, the Google searches from top 50 UK university grew by 10%. So it was clear that international students were becoming more and more important for UK university. And the first university to take action in this direction was Open University. Open University strengthened its footprint in internationalization, creating a fully dedicated team to promote their high-quality distance learning programs. And through this promotion, they were able to be the university that recruited more students overseas. Then, let's see Netflix, about the capacity to deep dive into data. Netflix is the famous service of video content streaming, and it has changed a lot since the beginning, and they have been able to change really quick. In fact, at the beginning, from the data at their disposal, they understood that their user, even if there were no mobile site or no mobile adapted site, they were used mobile, smartphone, and tablet to see video online. And so they fully understood through this the concept of anytime access. The user wants to connect everywhere, in every moment. There's no barrier between different moments. And then, and this is the most important change for me, through the data, the analytics data, so analyzing the preferences of their user, they were able to revolutionize completely the way they were commissioning original content for their video. In fact, when they commissioned House of Cards, they didn't ask for a pilot. And it was the first time in the history of television, because they were completely sure that there were an audience on Netflix for House of Cards. And they were right, because that season, House of Cards was one of the biggest success of the season. Third, to win moments that matter. This is the more technical part, because to win moment that matters, you have to do two things. You have to be at the right time, in the right place, and at the same time you have to bring brand stories to life. Actually, there are millions of moments in which you can meet your customers. So just to try to manage millions of moments is not that easy. So you have to automatize the way you target your audience. In fact, just to give you some number, in 2017, it's expected that 59% of advertising will be completely automated. And in fact, in 2018, CMOs will spend more than CTOs in technology. That's because it will be more and more important to automatize the targeting and to be really efficient on targetize your audience. Let's see two examples of being a right time, a right place. First, Target. This story begins with an angry father that entered a Target store. Target is a big chain of a retailer, the second one in the United States, the second behind Walmart. And so there was this angry father that entered a Target store complaining to the store manager about the fact that they were receiving some coupon for baby clothing for his daughter. So it was really outrageous. They was thinking that Target was encouraging his daughter to have a child. But it turned out that actually Target knew his daughter better than the father did, because actually she was really pregnant. Because what they used was the purchase behavior pattern to predict the pregnancy prediction score to customer, so that they can send really customized offer to the right customer. And not only, they were able to understand even the different phase of pregnancy to send a different offer to the, yeah, this is, I know this is really strange, but this is maybe a smart way just to use the data that you have at your disposal. Then, do you know Barbary Kisses? No? Okay. I'll show you. This is an initiative that Google did in partnership with Barbary, and it's a great example of automation and to be in the right place at the right time.
You, oh you mean everything to me, baby, and I hope I mean everything to you. And we're at the stage where to be apart it hurts, and like the old movies, when I see you, you kiss my cheek. I said this is great, and I hope that we can make it last like evergreen love should.
Can you? Okay. Sorry. This was a great initiative where emotion meets efficiency. First of all, because to promote this initiative, they used only programmatic buying. So they were able to use data at their disposal to target not only their user, but also similar user. So they were able to hit millions of people that interacted with this kind of experience. And second time, they were at the right time, at the right place, because people were sending like kisses everywhere in the world. And so it was really satisfying needs of love of their customer. Then let's talk about the importance of telling stories. The online is now bringing something different in telling story, especially in advertising. What we can see in the last period is something that Ajaz Ahmed, that is the founder of AKQA, said. Now the best advertising isn't advertising. Because the best way to advertise something is not to interrupt people, but just to show them something that can make them feel something and to serve them. So we have a lot of long format advertising in the last period. And in fact, at the Cannes Awards, 3 awards goes to long form advertising. And we have a lot of different examples. For example, we have a Cartier that did this video that was 3.3 minutes video that was called The Odyssey, that was seen by 17 million people. Or like Dior did a 4 minutes video called The Secret Garden that was seen by 12 million people. So now it's time to tell stories that are longer than 30 seconds. 30 seconds now is just the base. So it's possible to tell stories that are longer and longer. And now I'm going to show you a superb example of this with Virgin America that was able to do something really, really funny. Let's see it.
I got some safety tips that you gotta know, and trust me, it's something that you wanna hear.
So honey, sip your lips and enjoy the show before we move into the stratosphere, yeah.
So won't you buckle your seatbelt, pull it on tight, and keep your in that chair until we turn off that light. Turn your electrical devices off as fast as you can.
And whatever you do,
Don't make me ask you again. So tonight, get ready to fly, 'cause we're gonna live it on up in the sky. Virgin America knows all the places you wanna be. Fly away with me, yeah.
For the 0.001% of you who have never operated a seatbelt before, really? I mean, it works like this.
This video lasts more than 5 minutes. And they were able to turn a bland content like safety tips for the flight. They usually, come on, nobody of us listen to the safety tips on the plane. And they were able to create a really viral content. It was seen more than 6 million times in just 2 weeks. So it was a really good example for that. And not only, they were also asking to their user to participate to the audition of their next videos. So they really linked together with the customer. So it was a really good example. So as we said, in an accelerated world, what a business have to do? Make beautiful mistakes. So they have to put some question. They have to ask themselves some question. When was the last time that I learned from a failure I did? Or to adapt fast. When was the last time that we hear to the customer needs? So we changed something because the customer were changing. Then, to embrace new behavior. When was the last time that we put on our customers' shoes? Because it's really important to put on customer shoes in this accelerating world. Then to deep dive into data. We have seen Netflix. They've understood from data that they had to change something. They did, and they won. And they were succeeding in doing that. And last, to be at right time and right places. So to automate the way to meet the customer moments. And last, to bring brand stories to life. This is all the things that business have to do in the future. And if they do this, they will succeed and they will get all the rewards from the future. Thank you so much.